Hello, 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 hello. Maybe? I love you, YouTube. Thank you for the delay. Hello, and welcome to episode number 21 of Cheat Code Radio. Welcome to Cyberpunk'd. It's another exciting Tuesday in it. That's as British as we're going to get on this show. It's Tuesday because I'm a dum-dum with my computer and had some technical issues. But we got them sorted out. We are back, and also joining me, as always, is the paladin himself, Mr. Ivan Seiler.
Sir, I am not a paladin. I play druid, sir. So, druid, or you could argue like a transmutation wizard. Either one. Look, I'm not here to split hairs about D&D junk. We're talking about Warhammer today. I'm excited. I didn't even bring it up. That's the weird part. But no, guys, yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna get started with our show today. We're gonna go back onto the game. As a heads up for next week, before we forget, we're not gonna be doing the game next week. You're get prepared for our Xbox predictions, educated guesses, and leaks of sort you may hear. So be sure to turn in on Monday sharp. We should be just fine unless we have some more technical issues, but we'll figure that out. No. So stay tuned to the Twitter account, and we'll keep you in touch.
Yep, no more technical issues. I'm done with them, and at this point, if we get more technical issues, I'm just buying a whole new computer. But yeah, we'll get right back into the game. But I want to take just a moment, if you will, because it's very rare that me and Ivan cross over on a game. Actually, it's not that rare, but usually it's a co-op game that we're playing together.
It's not super. Yeah, it normally happens to be a co-op game, but for the most part, our interests like only really overlap when it comes to like dude bro shooters. So, but no, seriously. So, go ahead.
Yeah. So, on Ivan's recommendation, I decided to pick up Warhammer Bolt Gun. I had a bucket load of Microsoft rewards sitting around in my account. And I was like, hey, you know what? This game is like $25. I have enough for a $25 card. Screw it. Let's do it. I'll pick it up and see what it's all about. They're talking, it's a boomer shooter and everything else. So I was kind of, I went in expecting a Doom clone. And to call this a Doom clone is borderline disrespectful. It's very modernized, but plays like an old, 90s shooter. It's just so bloody good. And essentially bloody is really the key point here is it's gory as hell. Like this is how I mentally remember Doom as a kid. Like this is what I remember in my head versus the actual reality. And just the level of detail not only in the game, but just everything with the game. It's fast-paced action. I love the modernization where it's like you have a dash ability, but you could dash through enemies and you crush them. You fall from any height and you land on someone, you turn them into a bloody toothpaste. Like just the crunch of bones, just everything about this is so damn good. I've never played anything Warhammer in my life prior to this.
No, me neither, dude. I had always literally growing up. We were talking about this before. There were two franchises that I was told that were like this is like the epitome of like nerddom. And the thing was they never overlapped when I was younger. It was the people who were Diablo fans and they liked video games more, and you also had people who were more Warhammer fans and they were tabletop RPG fans. And never should the two shall meet. So never at all. And I remember growing up and hearing that, and I was just like, figurines are interesting, I guess, but whatever. Shoot me as soon as I get into that. But no, yeah, Bolt Gun is a great introduction for people who have no idea what the hell's going on. I mean, you're still not going to have any idea what's going on anyway, because the lore is so dense. It's really hard to get people into it. I guess the easiest way to explain it is that this is the worst possible future. It's a theocracy world. Everyone's in service of the God Emperor. I won't go into details about all of that. If you're interested, let me know, and I will be more than happy to share it there. But I'm not going to keep doing this here. Everyone serves as the God Emperor. There are like 20 different legions of Space Marines in service. Some of them split off, and some of them have internal schisms. There's a whole big thing about it. In this one, you're kind of playing as your blue boys, the Ultramarines from Ultramar, and they are like the poster child of Space Marines. And bolt gun doesn't parse any hairs. Kill everyone you see. You'll come across Chaos Marines. You'll come across Demon Spawn. There's aliens. It's like if an entire world was run by Doomslayers.
My absolute favorite thing is that there's an actual taunt button where
Yes.
you could just spam things and call people heretics and essentially flip people off while you're shooting them. It's great. Now, them button mapping that to the Y button, the amount of times I tried to switch weapons and end up taunting is hilarious. Getting used to using the D-pad took a minute. But man, like, everything's so chonky in that game. Like, that's what I love. Like, when you're playing, like, Doom, like, I'm talking like 2016 and 2020. What I loved about Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 was how free floating mechanically you felt. Like, everything was so smooth, and you were agile in Doom. In Bolt Gun, you are a big clunky armored boy, and like when you run, you hear your feet go clunk 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 clunk, and then you barrel into someone and they smash into pieces.
Oh, dude, there's like a reason behind it too. Like, if you are a Space Marine, you are barely human at this point. You have been genetically modified into the image of your Primarch. You have extra organs. You're like 8 feet tall minimum. Like, underneath that armor is not a lot more. It's your chunky body. Like, you are was it those Chad meme people? You see, you are the Gears of War, like, in proportionate. Like, it is insane. But yeah, no, you are literally that strong, and so walking over people, they're like paper mache to you. It's not anything crazy.
It's such a great mechanically feeling game. Like, it's so rewarding, and like, I don't know. I did not expect to enjoy it this much. Like, the last time I was this surprised by an FPS game was Dusk. And then before that was like the Doom remakes. So like, it's high caliber gunplay. And if you're an FPS fan, you have to play this. It is a must play. And even if you don't know anything about Warhammer, or you know a ton about Warhammer, just go play it. It looks fantastic. But I just want to throw that little segment in there. We typically talk news and everything else, but we had a little bit of a crossover in terms of games. So figured we'd kick off the show with a little games talk before we get into the news. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first today?
I think I don't know. Well, because we skipped last time, I don't remember who went first necessarily. We can flip a coin.
It's great. You can go first. I'll let you go first.
All right, fine. So as you guys know, we're back on the games segment. I think I'm ahead by 1 point right now. So what we do is we have ranked 5 different topics. We have not talked to each other about these topics, so we don't know what the other ones picked. So we are going to go one by one, and we're going in reverse order. So my number 5 topic is Overwatch 2. We didn't get a chance to talk about this on the show last week just because we were talking about Sony stuff, but there was some news that came out, and we kind of watched the fallout of that now, and it's a little interesting. So for those of you that were on par with what's going on necessarily, Overwatch has had a bit of a tough time lately. When Overwatch 2 was originally pitched back in 2019, I want to say, one of the major focus points about it and the justification for having Overwatch 2 in the first place was that they were going to have a hero mode where you could play single player missions as story missions with individual characters and unlock new traits and abilities for them, so you can kind of customize your hero to your play style. And originally, when they pitched Overwatch 2 initially, Overwatch 1 was still going to exist, and you could play all the multiplayer stuff was going to be included, but Overwatch 2, specifically the single player content, you would actually have to purchase. So this was the original pitch that everybody latched onto. There were some major changes to Overwatch specifically, so things made some big changes there. And as of the news that happened 2 weeks ago now, Blizzard has announced that they are canceling the story mode, at least as far as the hero missions that they initially promised. So they're just not going to be delivering that at all. And I think more specifically, I think what pissed people off even more was that last year when they launched Overwatch 2, they knew they weren't going to do the hero version because they knew people wouldn't get on board. So they intentionally lied to the community and did not let that be known, so people would go ahead and get invested with the promise of things to come. So I'm just done. Are you done with this, Nick? Are you done with Overwatch? I'm just at that point where I'm like, you know what? There's too many other games to play. I'm just done with Overwatch.
The thing is that if you're in the multiplayer space right now, it is hyper competitive. It is a super competitive space. Whether it's Call of Duty vying for your time, Sea of Thieves, all these new service games that are going to be coming out that we've talked about, Marathon, everything else, Destiny 2. There is no shortage of service games vying for your time, and it's kind of wild to me how Overwatch really dropped the bag on this one. And everything that they've implemented for Overwatch 2 has made me miss Overwatch.
Yeah.
Every new change they did made me go, this is better than the original.
That's true. And at this point, it just feels like it was an excuse to do a free-to-play battle pass model where we could squeeze so much money out of people. Because it was funny because they actually had a free pass to keep doing loot boxes in the UK because they were grandfathered in.
Mm-hmm.
And their loot box model was actually fine. I didn't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to admit, with Overwatch's loot box situation where you earn them every level up, I never bought one.
Yeah.
I bought the game at launch, and that was the only money I ever spent on Overwatch. And I bet logistically they look at it and they go, well, every skin pack's $25 and your battle pass is $10. They've got a recurring base that's pumping that money in that never bought loot boxes. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think the player base is what it used to be.
I think they could have done it. I really do think they could have just implemented a battle pass thing into that. I could see them doing something like, hey, every couple of levels or so, you'll get a loot box that has this, and you basically include that on top of your regular level ups. So it's like, oh, cool, more loot boxes. I'm fine with that. And then, okay, at certain levels on the premium track, you're guaranteed this particular skin.
Well, to be honest, they could get away with it because think about Rainbow Six Siege, right? They have a full-fledged battle pass, and you still have alpha packs. Hell, there's even exclusive packs to the battle pass. So there is ways that they could have done this if they had wanted to increase the money coming in. But I'm just really disappointed because all the stuff they had talked about, their justifications for making an Overwatch 2 were really intriguing to me. The single player, the more co-op focused aspect of things, finally fleshing out the characters properly and, doing, historical battles or anything like that, or any of these what these co-op missions could have been. It's just disappointing. And this whole thing where it's like, oh, well, if you do PvP, it's hard to also do PvE content. We talked about this last week. Is you've got, I hate using Call of Duty as the golden marker, but Call of Duty maintains 3 different, very different player bases with Modern Warfare 2 between multiplayer, DMZ, and Warzone. And they make content for all three of those groups. And you're telling me that you can't do multiplayer content for Overwatch 2 and do interesting co-op stuff? I just don't believe you.
The more I think about it, I think is when Jeff Kaplan left, that was the death of the studio.
Yeah.
I just, it feels like they have nothing else to do and they're just kind of coasting now. Like I don't feel any direction from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, all right, well, whatever. Like we gave up, so you should too. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'm done.
And see, I think I would be less mad about this if they hadn't paused Overwatch updates for like 2 years prior to launch. Because you remember, they said, we can't work on Overwatch anymore because we're working on Overwatch 2. Just bear with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not really interested in playing Overwatch if you're not adding anything to it. Like, it's the same map, same rotation over and over again. So it's like, yeah, that gets pretty stale. So let's see what you're cooking next. And then the changes all just kind of sucked. Roll queue sucks. I know.
You had to kick your buddy off the squad because he went from 6-man to 5-man.
Yeah.
So, well, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it was just stuff that didn't make sense. And like 5-mans in MOBAs make sense because you have 3 lanes and 5 players. But like for the size of Overwatch maps, especially since a lot of the maps are the same maps from Overwatch, they feel geared for 6-man. I felt like I spent more time wandering around in 5v5 than I did 6v6.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just didn't give you options anymore. It's like you get 1 tank. Okay. Cool. There's not really a lot of the tanks aren't good without another tank to pair off of. And it screwed up a lot of things. And it's just disappointing that in an era where Call of Duty's hitting the mark, Diablo 4 looks like it's striking hot and ready. Overwatch 2 is just kind of existing.
Your turn, sir. What do we got?
We got Ratchet and Clank. Rift Apart is coming to PC in July. You know, there was rumors at post PlayStation Showcase that there was a PC port that was on its way, and there was much speculation of what it is. But on July 26th, PC players will be able to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on their PCs. The specs don't look too bad. No mention of needing an SSD, though, so that's interesting. But with all that being said, very, very good game. One of the best, actually, I'm not going to say one of the best, but one of my favorite PlayStation 5 games so far. By a long shot, actually. So highly recommend if you are not in the PlayStation ecosystem, but you own a gaming PC, to go ahead and check that out. And I believe it's not even $70. I believe it's $60 on Steam. So.
Well, they're not allowed to charge more than 60 because at least on PC. So good luck with that.
Yes, sir.
Well, I say not allowed, but more like how dare you even think about that? So
basically.
But yeah, no. I'll say this for later because it's a topic I have for later. But surprise, surprise. They were right. They definitely were holding information back.
Yeah.
The showcase. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say on that topic. You actually stole my my number 4. So. All right. So do you want to go with your number 4? Or sorry, your number 4. Yeah.
No, I'll let you go to your number 3 because I could also steal another one from you.
Good point. So this one is just your general legal update. So this is all your legal updates for this the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Knock it out. Yep. So last Friday, but the Friday before, the preliminary injunction was denied to the quote unquote gamers lawsuit They said there's no actual harm actually being done, and there's no there's no reason for them to actually for those of you that aren't familiar with legal junk, a preliminary injunction is basically saying, hey, we need everybody to stop what they're doing right now until we solve this right now. And in this case, they would say if they were granted a preliminary injunction, that stops all acquisition work for Activision Blizzard. That stops everything. So that was denied. So that is not the case in this instance. We also had an update from China. China approved the deal with no concessions of any kind. Same thing with South Korea as of today. So that is currently where things stand there. The other portion of this is the tribunal for the appeal for this the acquisition in particular. They did a preliminary thing, and all they're really doing was talking about. They did this like for 4 hours, just talking about when are they going to have the trial or the hearing.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it took forever. I only caught like little bits and pieces of it. And there's a couple clips and live tweets you can watch from people who have covered this one. It's interesting. It sounds like the judge is siding with Microsoft on this one, that they should do this sooner than later. The CMA is kind of like, all right, well, we want you guys to do this in August, to have our hearing in August, and they're like, no, we're doing this in July. And like the CMA is like, oh yeah, that's not enough time for us to prepare. The Microsoft's like, you gave us 4 weeks to prepare for our appeal, so I think that's more than fair. So just it's funny little back and forth, but the judge is kind of siding with Microsoft here. Dumb little positioning stuff. Apparently, the CMA guy, their representative, is like a stutterer. So it makes for some interesting quotables. So other than that, not much else going on that front. I just wanted to kind of give you guys your general update here. Anything you want to add, Nick?
No, I'm not a lawyer. Really can't. This is not my wheelhouse.
This is more like, look, we're at the point now where there's very little for like the regular layman to really add on this. I just kind of want to give you guys like the briefest of updates, so you're really up to date with what's going on. But that's it. But yeah, that's what just there. All right, now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn. So hold on, we're on number 4, right?
For you, 4, yes.
For me, 4. Hold on. Diablo 4 and Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, good reviews, bud.
Like, 2023 is really, it's really starting to kick off here. Like, we got Diablo 4, I think it's at like a 89 on Metacritic. I think Street Fighter fell into the 90s. Street Fighter 6, sorry. I think I said 5 at the start there. I'm terrible with numbers. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm not a fighter guy by any means, but it's awesome that Street Fighter 6 is going to be available to everyone, and it looks like it's a high-quality game as well. Capcom, though, right? Like, they've got 2 of the 3 must-play games so far this year in terms of the 2023 Metacritic, like the quote-unquote Hall of Fame that they track of the highest-scoring games. They got the number 2 and number 3 right now.
Mm-hmm. They have done a great turnaround. Like, everybody and I would joke that Capcom was kind of like the hooker on the street at the beginning of the Xbox One generation.
Yep.
Because they were just making crap games like left and right, and it was like, whoever pays us, we'll do it. They did not care at all about quality. But something happened about when Resident Evil 7 dropped, where they got their crap together. Where they were like, okay, here we go. Now we're going to start launching some quality here. So that has been very rewarding to watch as they've turned their company around, and now Capcom is synonymous with quality again.
Well, and it's interesting too because they're one of the few companies that have revitalized a lot of their classic franchises at the same time. Like, not only are they remaking the classic Resident Evil games and getting good reviews for that, but they're also making good new Resident Evil content. Like, that's incredibly rare that a publisher's going back and going through their back catalog and bringing those games forward in a really good, high quality way, as well as releasing new games within that IP in a high quality way. Metal Gear could never.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. But like Street Fighter coming back big, Resident Evil's huge, Monster Hunter is massive. I'm really interested to see how some of their new IPs start to hit. Was it Exoprimal?
Yep, Exoprimal. We'll see how that one goes. That heard that one's the most iffy right now.
That was the most. That's the one that's most iffy to me. But at the same time, it's a more co-op focused adventure, and Capcom has kind of shown that their wheelhouse is really single player, unless it's Monster Hunter. So I'm interested to see how that does. And rumors around Dead Rising coming back. I'd be interested to see what this era of Capcom could do with a Dead Rising title. Because they were definitely in a rut when they made 4. So I'd be very interested to see what modern Capcom could do with the Dead Rising franchise.
It could be fun.
And just to dabble onto Diablo 4 is, once again, another one where it's like, this could have been bad, but it looks really, really good.
Rod Ferguson turning companies around.
Man, that dude has a resume that I am envious of, because it's like he joins a studio, then 2 years later they launch a game, and it's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
hey, he knows how to do his job. Give him credit.
My question is, do you think Rod Ferguson will leave after Diablo 4 is launched to his next doomed... maybe Rod Ferguson will go help Hassan make Abandoned.
Oh, God, that's the ultimate challenge.
Little did you realize that Abandoned was just created by the games industry in order to create a worthy opponent for Rod Ferguson.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Man, oh my gosh. So yeah, you took some of my topics here, Nick. But no, like I said, Diablo 4 looks like it's gonna be great. We are really eating good right now. It's gonna be a good year. I feel like this is gonna be like our 2015 for this generation. Like now we start getting some good games coming out all at once.
You know what actually makes me so happy is I remember I was really depressed in 2015. Not well, in general. But like when 2015, when all those awesome games came out, I was like working 2 jobs. I just had my daughter and I couldn't afford any of these games that were coming out. I didn't get to start playing 2015 games till like 2017, 2018. So like to actually be able to play these games now at release, I'm so excited to actually be sitting there going, this game's amazing, and I get to play it on day. Like I got the deluxe edition of Diablo ready to go. I'm like, Friday hits, I'm sliding right in. Like,
all right, good stuff. Okay, so my topic, this is actually my number 2. This is something that kind of slid under the radar last week, and I don't want to let up on this. I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying I'm friendly with Special Nick. I don't take anything personally with him, but this was really stupid. They were having their Xbox Era podcast, and they had mentioned something and started this sentiment that kind of started getting spread around. And I want to go ahead and just nip this in the bud. They implied that Starfield was going to be sabotaged because it's an Xbox title and it represented the future of Xbox. Guys, If anyone's sabotaging Starfield, it's Todd Howard. We're just gonna be straight up honest. Um, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a perfect game. I know we're working their ass off to make it polished as hell. My understanding is the game's been done and they're literally just patching things and making it a ultra fine release. That's as far as I know, at least. I'm not a Bethesda insider on this particular topic, so I'm gonna tell you right now, if Starfield is great, no one's gonna give a damn what reviewers say. No one cares. As has been proven time and time again, if a game is lit, no one cares what the review score is. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what the deal is at that point. And it will keep market share. For example, or mind share rather, not market share. Fallout 4 did not get the best of reviews. It didn't hit the 90s. We can actually take a look at that right now. Let's take a good look at Fallout 4.
Here you go. I got it right now. Keep going. I got you.
Yeah, no. So like with Fallout 4, I want to say it was like 84. I remember because there was like that whole point about like it being ironic that it didn't hit 85 because of
it's 84 as per Metacritic. It's 84 on PC, 88 on Xbox, and 87 on PlayStation 4.
Okay,
so
mid
80s. Yeah, mid 80s.
Yeah, it didn't crack the 90s, so it is not. I wouldn't expect Starfield to hit that either, but I do expect it to wow general audiences, which is kind of all that matters. Because what Microsoft needs is, look, a critical success is cool. It does not matter. At the end of the day, if you have that big name franchise that people love and people play, they don't care what it scored. They won't care what it scored. They just know it's available and they want to play it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think saying it's going to be sabotaged implies it's going to be effectual in the first place. That it's going to stop anything. What Microsoft needs to be concerned about is releasing a great game. And as long as the great game is released, that's all that matters. If someone has any kind of bias, or they're like, or like, the classic thing. Remember they used to do this for Horizon, or Forza Horizon specifically, where they always would get some person who doesn't like racing games to review Horizon at IGN. Mm-hmm. It was like inevitable. They tried this every Horizon game. Like, I don't like racing games, but I was placed in charge of reviewing Horizon, and I didn't like it, but it was pretty fun.
See, I'm weird when it comes to reviews and stuff. I follow specific reviewers that have tastes similar to mine. Mm-hmm. Like there's a guy on YouTube that I watch almost all of his reviews, Lord Mandalore, and he does specifically older games typically, but he also does some newer releases. And my tastes pretty much match up to him 1-to-1. If he enjoys something, I'll probably enjoy it. I think what people still don't seem to understand in 2023 when it comes to reviewers, just find a reviewer you vibe with. Yeah. Stop going, oh, why is this VGC review I agree with, but this VGC review I don't agree with? There's different people. Find out who wrote that review, follow that person, and watch for their review specifically. And then do your reading or whatever the case may be. Because I think reviews of people that don't like specific genres of games are just as useful as people who love them. I don't want someone to do a review of Ratchet & Clank. We'll use Ratchet & Clank for example. If you don't like action platformers, I kind of am interested if you'd like Ratchet & Clank. Like, that's an interesting perspective to me. Is it one that you go, hey, I actually kind of like them? Like, I actually remember there was a guy who said he hated platformers, and he played Psychonauts 2. And he gave that game a 9.5 out of 10 because he said he made him reconsider platformers as a genre. And to me, that review is super impactful because that's coming from someone who hates platformers. I don't want someone who only plays Mario games to review a Mario game. Of course they're going to like it. It's a Mario game. And this whole idea, like, people are biased inherently. Like, people that want objective reviews are the funniest people to me. Because it's like, you want opinions, but you want objective opinions. And you just sound dumb when you're asking for objective opinions. Like,
Yeah, you go ahead.
Like, I review a lot of different games. I am not a third-person action guy. I am an FPS shooter guy for the most part, and I like a lot of top-down RPGs. So if you're following me for those types of reviews, you're probably going to have a good time. But if you're following me to see if, you know, I like this overly cinematic third-person action game, you might be disappointed in how I feel versus how you feel.
Oh, can we please, for the love of God, can we please stop with the Metacritic bias thing where it's like, oh, Street Fighter 6 has 66 reviews on PlayStation and only 20 reviews on Xbox.
Because
That's media bias.
Oh
no, it's called review copies, dummy.
It's called review copies and where people's platform of preference is. And to keep a buck, complaining that Street Fighter 6 is more reviewed on PlayStation after the last game was exclusive to PlayStation, and fighters, as a general rule of thumb, aren't supported as well in the Xbox ecosystem as they are in the PlayStation ecosystem. You should not be surprised that if a media site hands off their Street Fighter 6 review to someone who is on PlayStation, because their fighters, if they main fighters, they probably play on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not bias on a multi-platform release. That's just you're playing the version of that you have. And like,
and they pay attention to that on Metacritic. They're like, hey, what did you review this game on? Okay, you only played the PlayStation version? Okay, we're only going to put your review on the PlayStation version of the game.
Yep.
That's fine. And it doesn't mean anything. That's where I don't understand. It's like, why do people have a problem with this? Because it literally doesn't mean anything. Because the games, content-wise, are exactly the same.
Here's the thing. I actually appreciate that they're split like that, because there's been games on PlayStation and Xbox where it's like an 84 on, say, the PlayStation version, then a 78 on the Xbox version. Then you go into the reviews for it, and they're like, oh, well, there's shader issues, and there's frame rate drops, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, you know what? I want to cop this game. I'm going to cop it on PlayStation because people seem to have less technical problems with it. Or I'm going to cop it on Xbox because the Xbox guys seem to have less issues with it. It helps you as a consumer. I do not understand why people are arguing against things that help.
Yeah, it's really stupid. It doesn't... even like my thing is like, okay, if you're arguing from a fan, even the fanboy console war, it doesn't make sense. So let's say I'm talking about Diablo 4. Mm-hmm. You know what? Diablo 4 reviews dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's take a look. So Diablo 4, I pull up Diablo 4 Metacritic. I haven't looked at this before, so I'm just kind of guessing here. So the Diablo 4 on Xbox Series X specifically is a 92 right now and has 11 reviews.
Mm-hmm.
If I click on PlayStation, they don't have anything right now. If I click on PC, they have 88, but they have 44 reviews. Does that mean that the Xbox version is better than the PC version? No. All it really means is just that more people reviewed it here, so there's a higher chance that they could have lower scores. So that's it. That's all it means. And that's why I don't understand why people are like, it's like, oh, it means it's worse. It's like, no, if like even then if I just type in like Metacritic score for Diablo 4, it just pulls up one of them first.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean anything. It's the stupidest argument that I keep seeing, and I'm just tired of people arguing it. It's genuinely a waste of time.
Oh no, absolutely, and that's my thing. It's you're wasting time arguing about something that ultimately doesn't even matter. And it's like, for all these guys, they're like, well, they should do more reviews on Xbox. Okay, go make a site. Go build up that site. Start reviewing video games. Go get yourself an Xbox copy and go get your reviews on Metacritic. If you're going to complain about it and you want things to change, don't talk about it, be about it.
Oh, that's the whole thing. And hey, you could even make a whole YouTube channel off of it. Like there are entire games that people just want to know, how does this game handle on this platform?
Yep.
Like my repeatedly successful videos, which I will never have understood when I used to do YouTube, was I had my video, should you buy Elite Dangerous on Xbox One? And I posted that originally like in 2016, 2017, had over 100,000 views. And I was like, what the hell? This makes no sense. And then I took it down when I deleted my channel. And then I re-uploaded it. And then it had 50,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
Like years later. And then I made an update to that one. How does this one play in 2020 or whatever? I forgot what year it was. And then I had like 20,000 views. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why are you watching this?
See, and that's the thing. This is what people do not understand about the gaming industry. People sat there and they'll be like, oh, someone's going to give Starfield a 6 for traffic. Do people not understand how low traffic reviews are? For context, in comparison to guides and everything else, guides, opinion pieces, anything else, reviews maybe do 10% of what opinion pieces and like not even 3% of what guides do.
Because all they really are is just aggregate score anyway.
Yep.
And like, yeah, you could maybe argue like, oh yeah, well if I give a game a 10 out of 10, it's not a 10 out of 10. Or if I give a game like a lower score than everyone else does, someone might click on our content more. But more than likely, they're just going to go complain on Twitter anyway. They're not going to read it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put my final soapbox on this. If you open up somebody's review, go down to the score box, screenshot that, and then post it on Twitter, you're an immeasurable douche. Share the goddamn article, share the damn review, and stop using other people's work to traffic your Twitter account.
Mm-hmm. Or whatever they do. Here's the review aggregates, guys. Here it is. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had a chance to even look at it yet.
Yeah, like, miss me with that. If you aren't crediting it, it's no better than people that write news articles without sourcing.
Oof. Oh, boy. All right. I think it's your turn now, actually.
Oh,
I only got one topic left.
Yeah, I really be stealing everything right out from under you today, huh?
Yeah, no.
All right. Let me pull up my list. Started that one. Did I not write down the number 3? Ah! Ha ha ha. Now I remember. We gonna talk about Bungie, also known as the Axeman at PlayStation Studios.
Oh my god.
Did I just steal your number 1?
Well, mine's more of an aggregate thing. But yeah, no, go ahead. It does. I wouldn't count it really as you stealing it, but no.
Okay. So we learned that. Okay, let me preface this properly. So PlayStation Showcase came and went. We talked about it last episode. Go check out that episode. Share that episode with your friend, your girlfriend, your mistress, whoever. And then a lot of people were left scratching their heads going, well, where's Factions? Factions should be there. They said they'd have more to talk about soon. And so, there were some rumblings across social media of people just generally agreeing with each other. Then Jason Schreier put out a report. And then, 23 minutes later, Naughty Dog put out a post.
No. Let me clarify that. Actually, I watched the time frame. Naughty Dog apologized 2 minutes before Jason Schreier did. They knew in advance this article was coming. They pre-apologized. I remember because I was watching it as I was talking to J-Main on Twitter about it, and so they literally put it that back to back. It was one on top of another.
Yep. So,
dude, that's wild. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, long story short, is the game has been scaled back significantly. Hold on, I'll pull up the actual article so I don't misrepresent this here. Never mind, because Bloomberg's paywalling me. Damn it. All right, sorry, Jason, if I misquote you, it's because you're paywalled. So Sony slowed down development on the upcoming multiplayer game. This is sourced from 4 separate people. So this isn't just, 1 or 2 people saying this. This is multiple people saying that it was scaled back after recent evaluation because their small group remained on the project while they completely reevaluate the direction. This is really weird to me. Really, really weird. Because I don't know. And so, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for Factions. But I don't know what Naughty Dog is doing right now.
Yep. Here's the actual quote from the article. Someone... Thank God someone else got this because we ain't paying for your stuff, Jason. I'm sorry, we're too broke for that. So, Sony has invested heavily in quote games as a service, or video games designed to be monetized beyond their initial sales through ongoing purchases. As part of that push, it asked another of its video game studios, the Seattle-based Bungie, to evaluate the games across its portfolio. Bungie raised questions about The Last of Us multiplayer project's ability to keep players engaged for a long period of time, which led to its reassessment. That is the quote that is circulating that's giving Bungie the Axeman powers.
So, Naughty Dog's a great studio, right? We can both agree on that, right? They make great games. Generally. I know your tastes are different. We'll say generally, they make great games.
All right, fair enough.
Your tastes aside, it's almost like making a multiplayer game isn't as easy as people want you to believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be a fly on the wall on some of the conversations about this. Because, I never thought I would see a day where a PlayStation as a whole would dial back a Naughty Dog project. And be like, nah, you need to figure this out. That is incredible to me because, so reportedly they've all been shuffled. A bunch of people got shuffled onto a single player team for Naughty Dog's next game. But what's interesting to me is if Factions doesn't come out, does that mean that most of Naughty Dog has wasted the past 3 years on Factions and remastering the first game?
I mean, that wouldn't be wrong. I mean, we could argue they're wasting time now, but hey, that's up to you.
Don't get me wrong. I am uber excited. I'm going to put this in past tense just in case. I was uber excited at the idea of factions, especially when it was pitched like it's in the like Division style in the world of The Last of Us. Really interested in that. But like, if this game gets canned, like, you imagine PlayStation canning a Naughty Dog game? But like historically, I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. We learned about Sucker Punch's game they canned before Ghost of Tsushima. And then we also learned about, Sony Santa Monica's canned sci-fi game prior to God of War 2018. So it's not like PlayStation's gun shy about canceling internal projects. But they do seem kind of gun shy on canceling games that we know about.
Yeah. They'd rather we not know about it, so you'd ever think it's an actual problem.
And and to me, the fact that we haven't seen anything from it except for concept art means they have no faith in its current state.
Yeah. I have been thinking about this. I was thinking about why would Bungie cancel it? Because the one thing that they said specifically is that they weren't sure about how long it would draw people's attention. And I think I could see two problems with factions. So because they spun this off and made this its own separate project entirely, I think with them, what they're thinking is that, okay, this has got to be enough for people to get like 20 to 30 hours of bare minimum that much time in playtime in it. And I think there's two things that would be wrong with it. One, they mismanaged the gameplay aspect of it. Where in terms of the gameplay loop is nothing more than PvP again, and it's not as engaging.
Right.
And the other one, and this is something I've always firmly believed about Sony titles, is they do narrative better than most studios, but they are god-awful at lore. And if you're making a Division, Destiny type game, you need lore. And a zombie game ain't gonna cut it. Like there's not enough lore for you to work with there. And if you don't have lore to keep people interested, you got to have style. And the problem is, The Last of Us is decidedly dull in terms of style. But that's because of what the franchise is. It's dark and gritty, but it's not over the top. It's grounded. It's realistic. This is not something they could do with that. Because like for me, it's like, oh yeah, are we gonna like explore where the zombies came from? What else? What do we got after that? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So I'm not saying like there's nothing you could do, but if they were trying to make a big, let's pour 50 plus to 100 hours into this game type of thing, I just don't see outside of the hardcore PvP market, people really gravitating and staying on that long if they're trying to go for story, which is what Sony's main draw has been this entire like generation and past generation as well.
I wonder, do you think The Last of Us Factions was going to be like an extraction shooter?
That would also be really hilarious if Neil got cucked. Where it's like Bungie looked at it and said, "This is an extraction shooter," and they're like, "Yeah." It's like, I don't know how successful that's gonna be.
They're like, remember, doing an extraction shooter isn't a race; it's a marathon.
Oh boy. But yeah, I just don't.
No, I actually kind of agree with you in that aspect. It's like, if you're doing like a PvP, PvE game, you gotta kind of have to have lore or a reason to keep people there. Emotional attachment, like they have in the actual Last of Us games, where it builds off of your attachment to characters to find motivations, isn't necessarily going to work in a co-op multiplayer game. So they have to find other means in which to keep you engaged. And Bungie being critical of that, I could kind of understand. But with all that being said, I'm hopeful that factions will see the light of day because, my God, BG needs it. If they
Yeah.
cancel factions, that man's gonna throw his PS5 out the window. Like, there's no way around it.
So, like, I had an idea for a game mode that would actually be pretty cool for Last of Us.
Hit me.
So, like, what if it was a battle royale type game?
Oh God.
But what it is that it's like, okay, let's say there's 50 people versus 50 people,
Okay.
and you are battling against the other people, the other team. And I literally just came up with this on the fly, so bear with me here. So the way it's set up is that you have like Team A going against Team B, both of 50 people. Whoever gets down to 20, it's only one life. Whoever gets down to 25 people first loses, and they die immediately. So it's like, so what would happen would be like phase one is Team A shoots at Team B. Maybe Team A loses like 10 people, so they got 40 people left. And then whenever Team B gets to 25 people left, those last 25 people instantly die. Or they become zombies or clickers or whatever we want to call it. So at that point, there's no benefit to them even staying. So those last 25 people just become clickers who everyone else is like, oh, we got to stop those guys. But then the remaining 40 people, they get split off arbitrarily into different groups again. And so it's 20 versus 20 where Team A, well, the original Team A is going against Team C now, who used to be their brothers, who used to fight with them. And then you same situation, you knock them down to 5 people left. Those last 5 people becomes clickers again, maybe like specialized clickers. And then the last group people, they get split off again. And eventually it gets whittled down to only 2 people left. This is your brother who was on your team the entire time. You've had to fight with him to survive, and now you have to kill him.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, then you could be maybe an extraction shooter, but that'd be PvPvE, and that would be interesting at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's all I got. So
Yeah, we'll just
but
have to.
that would be interesting. I'm not sure how long it would last, like long term, for
Yeah,
interest.
we'll just have to.
Naughty Dog, hey, I'm hireable.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, find my contact information of the space of this video. All right. Anyway, so my last topic is I want to talk about the rumors, the post showcase rumors. Oh my God!
You actually stole my number 2.
Safe. So there's been literally after this PlayStation Showcase, people have been all over the place, begging for anything to come out, any sort of news. The one who gave them hope initially was Tom Henderson, aka the Snitch. We all know it's the worst kept secret in the game industry. It was Tom Henderson was surprised that certain announcements weren't made at the PlayStation event. So people somehow interpreted this to be, oh, they were holding back exclusive announcements. And it's like, no one said that. Where are you getting this from? Like, what? Like, no one said that. And lo and behold, because of this one particular thing, everyone just started the rumor mill up. We had a Destiny streamer who came out of nowhere, and for some godforsaken reason, people believed her. The dumb one that was just blatantly wrong from the get-go was that Days Gone 2 was starting development. No. We had, what was it, Jeff Ross, who left the studio, was even commented on it like, We could have been done with Days Gone 2 by now,
Oh my
but
God.
no. But yeah, no, that's no. We know already they're working on a new IP, so no, they are definitely not doing Days Gone 2. But then the funnier one, because over the weekend they made this statement that Sony was looking to buy CD Projekt Red, which is just the most out of left field nonsense.
Just for context, the thing that makes me cackle is Sony was the one that pulled Cyberpunk off their store for like 6 months. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to buy you because you guys are obviously quality.
What? Yeah, no. That's like after the Cyberpunk debacle, there's no way Sony's going to buy CD Projekt Red. So it also, because CD Projekt Red's like almost like $3 billion. And like for a sale like that, no one's going to undersell them. They're going to get more than that amount.
Well, and
so no, that's not going to happen.
And also,
so the funny part, what killed me was the CEO of CD Projekt Red came out and said, CD Projekt Red is not for sale. We're going to be independent. No. They made it very abundantly clear. People were like, well, Bluepoint said the same thing too. It's like, Bluepoint didn't say they weren't for sale. Bluepoint just said they're independent at this time. It was like, no, that's so stupid. And also, Sony leaked the Bluepoint deal beforehand, so we all knew it was coming. So it's funny because they literally have been dying for any sort of news whatsoever to just go right for them. And then today, having the announcement like, Ratchet and Clank is going to PC. It's like, maybe there's a reason they didn't include that in the PlayStation showcase. Like, maybe there's a really good reason why they didn't do that.
Yep.
So yeah, they were holding back information, like the Naughty Dog delay, and this deal for PC. So maybe we should just stop asking for more news right now, please. Just stop. Like, just let them come out and like announce something good in a bit, but just don't beg them for more because they're going to give you things that are disappointing. But
listen, I need people to use some common sense, because there was a couple of things on that rumor set that should have, set the red light a going. One, Days Gone 2's happening. It's done. It's dead. Let it go. Sony Bend had to let it go. Hell, they let Garvin and Ross are gone. Like that done. Sony Bend got gutted, and they're doing support work and a new IP. That's it. They're done. 2, CD Projekt Red being bought by Sony after the Cyberpunk debacle, after the fact that, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, their CEO had to address this on their earnings call. People are randomly making stuff up and making it newsworthy. And you want to know why this happens? It's because media is so damn desperate for clicks right now, because every parent company's in cutback mode. So everyone is reposting every Reset Era, 4chan, or whatever leak as a factual thing just to drive traffic to it.
Oh, dude, it's gotten terrible. Like, we joked about this before, but this is like a thing that actually happens on the regular. We watched Game Rant in particular because they're in a weird situation because they got bought out again by the parent company for Screen Rant. Now they're fighting internally with Screen Rant for clicks, and so every Saturday without fail they post an article, or not an article, an editorial about Starfield. It's been every Saturday for the last 3 months. And they've done this every time. And it's like, Starfield's not going to be as good as No Man's Sky. Oh, Starfield, everything riding on Starfield for Xbox is success. Oh, Starfield's not going to be as good as Outer Worlds. Like, just all this stuff. And it's like, dude, why do you keep talking about this? This is not news. This is an editorial. and you keep talking about the same game every single Saturday. Or who was it? Was it the Guardian? Or is it Eurogamer? I forget which one it was, but like someone just lets random people write articles now.
Oh, that was the Guardian, I think.
Yeah, they literally just said like, "Oh yeah, no, we're doing a promotion thing where like anybody can write us a 400-word article and we'll publish it."
Terrible
And I
idea.
just read the most like inconsistent tripe I've ever read, and I'm like, "This is no, I can't read this anymore." It's so funny because you're right; they are so desperate for clicks right now. It's so bad, and I feel bad for the industry because the thing is things are changing, but look, the game never stays the same. The game always changes. You have to adapt or die. It's just an inevitability. There's
And
no point.
the thing
No point in fighting it.
is that there's so many websites that rely on SEO farming. You know, 5 things you need to know about this, 2 things to do this guide to this. There's so much reliance on that SEO farming format in order to drive traffic that it's wholly unsustainable. And Google retooled some of their SEO so that basically if you all use the same featured images and you all have similar blurbs, you get filtered down in Google now. So if you basically reword press releases and use the same static images, Google filters you down now. It's been great for independent sites. Like Lognet has been thriving since this Google change. But it's killing big sites. Or actually, I'm not going to say big sites. I'm going to talk your mid-range sites. Your mid-range sites are suffering exponentially right now. And people just have to retool their content. And unfortunately, and I like to take digs at them all the time, they sit there and go, we need more content and everything else. And then they fire half of their writing staff. And then keep the tripe that recycles garbage endlessly. So it's just the same stuff over and over and over again by the same people saying the same things with no variance in opinion. It's awful.
Yeah, this is how things were gonna go. This is how we've been talking about it. Like it's a rough time for people, and I get from the journalist perspective, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay on top. But look, as much as it sounds bad, I mean your days are kind of numbered on that front. I mean, people got podcasts, people have other platforms. They've replaced other media groups. We're fine with that. And also when you have like different groups or different manufacturers or or platform holders rather using other people for reviews, no one cares.
Yep.
Like they'll pull and quote whatever sounds the best, and they don't care who it is anymore. Like people like it's funny because I talk to like Zoomer kids now. I talk about like, oh yeah, game reviews. Nobody talks about IGN or GameSpot anymore.
No.
They're all like, oh yeah, Markiplier said, or oh yeah, this other guy said. And I'm like, I don't know who the hell these people are, but okay.
Yeah.
I know who Markiplier is, but that's just as an example.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got on this topic.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how things go. It's steady as she go, that's for damn sure.
Yep. I think we're down to your number 1, boy. What we got?
Xbox cock teasing fable.
Oh God, this. Okay, lay it down. Lay it on me.
So, Xbox tweeted a 20-second clip with some Fable-ass music, with some glitter, and just general Xbox pre-showcase hype. And I'm seeing everyone go, oh, Fable's going to be at the Xbox showcase. And I'm sitting there going, I still doubt it. Like, I don't know what, like, it's been developed long enough that we should see it. Like, don't get me wrong, we should absolutely see Fable. But there's been part of me that's been predicting Fable at every Xbox showcase for the past like 2 years. That's like, nah, it ain't gonna be there.
You get to see I saw the video in question. I never got to listen to it. They're trying to click on it. It didn't play any music, which was weird. So yeah, I didn't pick up the Fable reference. I was just like, this is blue and green, like glitter. That's it. Okay. Whatever. I didn't pick up any Fable references to it. But no, if they show off Fable, I'd be very impressed. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea if Fable's gonna actually be there or not.
Listen, if they come out swinging with a bunch of RPGs and then Starfield's in a separate show altogether, like, here's my thing. And to quote Special Nick in a good way, I never doubt Microsoft's ability to not land a layup. Like, Sony's had a month of bad news, and if Xbox hits this out of the park, it'll be timing central. But when they said, hey, Starfield's in its own showcase, I was like, all right, okay, you have my interest simply based on the fact that if you're putting Starfield in a separate showcase, that means you have a bunch of other stuff you want to show.
Yeah.
Like, inherently, that means you have too much stuff in your main showcase and you can't properly show off everything plus Starfield.
It may not be exactly that. It could be more along the lines of, hey, we have way too much Starfield to show you, and we're not going to call this the Xbox Starfield Showcase. So
I see. I don't believe that, only for the simple reason is I know they have to show more about Starfield than say they have with like Fallout games, because everyone knows what Fallout game is going to be, right?
Yeah,
but
for the Fallout base, didn't need a lot of convincing to jump out and go get it.
Yeah. But with Starfield, I still feel like they're going to be cagey, and they're not going to they're going to show enough, obviously. Like, it has its own showcase. They're going to talk about it and everything else. But what I'm hoping for is I don't want to see like generic gameplay walkthrough. I want them to explain what makes Starfield different than previous Bethesda titles. Why is Starfield better?
Yeah, I got to see that one mechanic that sets this apart.
Yep.
Because that's been the one thing I've been watching with Bethesda is that they finally figured out Fallout's identity as opposed to Elder Scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like, okay, now that we have these predetermined groupings and now we can understand them, how does Starfield fit in this?
Yeah.
And that's the interesting part. So I don't know. I'm very cautious about the showcase in particular, mostly because I don't know how the pandemic's affected a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Because I know you and I talked about this before about whether or not a lot of the UK-based studios got anything done because their lockdown was way more severe than ours was. So we don't know who's actually going to be there or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm curious. But for me, my big thing for Microsoft right now is release dates. Firm release dates. Because we know about a lot of projects, but we haven't seen a lot from these projects. And we don't have any dates for these projects. So this is one of those things where I need firm dates. Something for me to be like, okay, this is definitely going to come out. And like this is like done deal dates specifically. Where it's like, okay, I can have some sort of planned process for the rest of the year. So that's my big thing, but we'll talk about that next week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk more expectations, what we're expecting and everything else. But like you said, like all they need to do is they need to come out swinging with gameplay and show some dates.
Yep.
Like, what's your big fall game? Like, okay, you got Starfield September. You got anything else before the end of the year? Cool. What's it? Where are you hitting with in spring? What couple of, are you going to have a couple of games January, February, March? What's going on there? What could we expect maybe summer? Don't talk about fall holiday bull. Just say late 2024 if you have to. But yeah, we need windows and stuff with this because, like, Avowed, we were supposed to hear more about that in 2021, and we just haven't.
Yep.
Hellblade 2,
Stalker.
Hellblade 2, we haven't seen since the Game Awards, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the last time we saw that gameplay snippet, and that was about it.
Yeah. I think there was a...
But, we have third-party stuff, too. Like, Stalker 2 is still supposed to come out this year. So,
see,
maybe.
Man, if Stalker 2 comes out... Listen, if I get the back half of this year is Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, and Stalker 2, you're never going to hear from me.
Podcast is over at that point.
Yeah, podcast is over because I'm on the YouTube channel's officially a Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, fucking Stalker 2 channel officially. But yeah, no, like, and I agree with Drew. It has to be firm in Sharpie. These dates, we need to hit dates at this point. There's no more. Hey, sometime in 2024. Yeah, we've seen how that plays out for you guys. Dates.
Yep.
Because you know what? When your competitor just released a bunch of stuff and didn't give any dates, you come off really strong. If
dates or gameplay. That's the key thing.
Yep. Dates and gameplay. That's all they need. And if you don't have dates, show gameplay.
Damn, is this dating advice? If you don't got dates, you gotta show game.
You gotta have the riz, as the kids would say. That's why everyone refers to...
I'm waiting for your daughter to walk in and say, the riz!
Listen, people now refer to me as the Risley Bear. But yeah, no. We'll wait and see. We'll talk full Xbox predictions next week. That'll be a fun show.
Yep, we're normally pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Especially we're doing over at Multiverse. We normally can get some stuff right. So
yeah,
that'll be fun.
I mean, let's face it. You and me were on the Obsidian train before Jason Schreier was. So.
Mm-hmm. And the Abandoned train.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta drag up that article again and do a victory lap tomorrow.
Yes.
Inferno, you can't call me cringe, sir. I know what you laugh at. Any closing thoughts for this episode?
Caring about Metacritic scores, it doesn't matter. Well, not without Metacritic scores necessarily, but don't stop caring about Metacritic review amounts and claiming bias. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, another great show. Appreciate those of you that tune up live. Appreciate, those that check us out afterwards. You want to hear us talk about different stuff on the show or anything like that, drop us a comment, let us know. Make sure you hit that like button. Help us out in the old YouTube algorithm. So that, we can start getting suggested more. It's harder to grow a podcast in these streets when Elon's choking off my God, don't clip that. But yeah, no, it's harder to get going out there. So, share a podcast, give it to a friend, give it to your sister, give it to your mom.
Give it to your dad for Father's Day.
Yeah, give it to your dad for Father's Day. And while you're
at
at
it, what the hell is this?
While you're at it, give your mom my Discord. She won't regret it. But that's been Cheat Code Radio episode number 21. We'll see you guys next Monday for Xbox predictions and Starfield hype. So we'll see you guys next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now.
See you guys.